Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a fascinating and, maybe a little bit frustrating gap on the global stage. We're calling it the Great Talent Paradox. See, on one hand, we've got India's massive, world-class human capital. But on the exact same token, there's a surprisingly small output of globally dominant corporate brands actually originating from the country. Think about it. How does a nation that exports so much brilliant leadership not export a matching number of household brands? Well, we are going to break down exactly what our source material reveals about this massive gap, and way more importantly, the actual roadmap to fixing it.
So first things first, we absolutely have to acknowledge a core reality here. India has literally never lacked talent. I mean, whether you're looking at science, engineering, medicine, or the business world, Indian human capital is, for sure, among the absolute best on the planet. You see it every day in top-tier hospitals, in cutting-edge university labs, and definitely in the boardroom. The wild success of Indian-origin CEOs currently running some of the most influential trillion-dollar tech companies out there, that's absolute proof. It's a huge point of pride, and rightly so. The human capital is 100% there.
Okay, let's dive into this, because right here is the massive paradox we have to unravel today. If India has all this immense, world-beating talent, why does it still produce significantly fewer globally dominant brands than the United States, or honestly, even many much smaller European countries? Think about the last time you walked into a store or downloaded a new app or even bought a car. Why aren't more of those instantly recognizable top-tier brands Indian? It's a super critical question, and to answer it, we really need to look beyond just the individuals and start looking at the environment they operate in. Now, to be totally fair, our source points out that things today are vastly different from the early 1990s. The progress has been incredible. From the booming IT sector and a pharma industry that literally supplies the world, to revolutionary digital payment systems and this incredibly vibrant startup culture, Indian businesses are absolutely throwing punches in global markets. But here is the crucial point from the source material. While all of this proves India is definitely moving in the right direction, the next big phase of growth requires a much, much larger footprint of actual globally recognized brands.
That brings us to a brilliant analogy from our source. The sports lesson, systems over simply talent.
To really get this, look at the contrast in international sports. Having a bunch of super talented kids kicking a football around in the street, that doesn't guarantee you a World Cup trophy. Countries that consistently win in football have strong grassroots development, professional coaching, competitive leagues, the whole shebang. Now contrast that with Indian cricket. Cricket thrives in India not just because people love the game, but because India has built this deep, exceptionally well-organized domestic ecosystem for it. It consistently churns out world-class players because the system is literally designed to find them, train them, and elevate them. So the big lesson from international football is that without that robust system, raw talent simply isn't enough.
This actually brings us to a quote from the text that perfectly anchors our central thesis today. A strong system is what transforms talent into sustained global excellence. That right there is the secret ingredient. We've got to shift our focus from just praising individual talent to critically analyzing and building the systemic ecosystems that actually nurture that talent. Because you can have the brightest minds in the world, but if the system around them doesn't provide the right tools, funding, and environment, well, that brilliance just gets bottlenecked.
So let's move over to the business world and look at Pillar 1, the domestic innovation ecosystem.
Now, what do we actually mean when we say innovation ecosystem? Based on the text, it's defined as the foundational environment that encourages research, product innovation, and advanced manufacturing to build world-class companies. And I want to frame this carefully. This isn't a criticism of India's current systems at all. Actually, scratch that. It's more like the incredibly exciting next phase of growth. Just like building all that cricket infrastructure took time, building a robust corporate innovation ecosystem is simply the next natural evolution for the Indian economy.
Let's walk through this concrete checklist of what that foundation actually looks like. We're talking about heavy investments in research and development, relentless product innovation, and really fostering entrepreneurship. But look a bit closer at those last 3 points. University-industry collaboration, where academia is actually getting in the trenches with businesses to solve real-world problems. Long-term investment, meaning patient capital that doesn't demand crazy returns overnight. And maybe most importantly, a calculated risk-taking culture. Ask yourself, how do these elements reward the kind of risks needed to build breakthrough brands? Because without a culture that accepts failure as just a normal part of the innovation process, you'll literally never get those world-changing products.
Okay, so now we arrive at a slightly counterintuitive strategy. Pillar 2, the global talent catalyst.
Let's just address the elephant in the room here. India has traditionally relied primarily on its domestic talent pool. And like we've already established, that is a massive strength. It's literally one of the largest and smartest talent pools in the world. But notice the contrast. While domestic talent is absolutely foundational, attracting global talent brings in fresh ideas, entirely different perspectives, and highly specialized expertise. And I want to reassure you, this is absolutely not about replacing domestic talent. No way. It's about the massive multiplier effect you get when you add scientists, designers, and researchers from diverse international backgrounds into the mix. It brings global best practices right to the front door of Indian labs and startups.
The exact formula our source proposes is actually pretty simple. World-class global talent plus world-class Indian talent equals a stronger, faster innovation ecosystem. It's a real game changer. When you actively encourage knowledge transfer across borders and you get diverse minds tackling a single problem in a university lab or a startup hub in Bengaluru or Pune, you just accelerate innovation. Diversity of thought is a massive competitive advantage, and integrating global experts makes the whole domestic ecosystem so much more resilient and creative.
So let's bring all of this together. The playbook, what India can build.
Just look at the current ingredients India has at its disposal right now. A massive talent base, a rapidly growing economy, expanding digital infrastructure that's literally connecting hundreds of millions of people, boundless entrepreneurial energy, and seriously increasing global influence. The crucial takeaway here is that India already has all of these fundamental strengths. The ingredients are already in the kitchen, right? The real challenge moving forward is simply taking all this incredible momentum and converting it into globally respected products, deep technologies, and lasting corporate brands.
And here is the roadmap to get there. It's a two-pillared approach for future competitiveness. Step 1, build that stronger domestic innovation ecosystem. Really focus on the R&D, the universities, the risk-taking capital. And step 2, foster greater global collaboration by opening the doors to international talent and expertise. This is the exact playbook needed to shift India from being known mostly as a nation that supplies an amazing workforce to the rest of the world to a nation globally recognized for creating breakthrough technologies and world-leading companies right on its own soil.
I absolutely love this quote from the conclusion of our source material, and I think it hits the nail on the head for this entire explainer. India has already proven what its people can achieve. The next milestone is proving what India can build. Wow, that is such a powerful, forward-looking message. The whole debate about whether Indians are capable, that's completely over. The individuals have won. Now it's time for the systems, the companies, and the nation's innovation infrastructure to rise up to that exact same level of global excellence. Which leaves us with this final, really exciting thought to ponder. If India successfully implements these systems, if it builds those deep R&D ecosystems and blends its domestic brilliance with global expertise, what will the next globally dominant Indian brand look like? Will it be in green energy, maybe artificial intelligence, or biotechnology? The groundwork is literally being laid right now. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this helps structure how you look at the future of global business. Until next time, keep learning.